No intro for today's video. I'm just going to get right into it. There has been a plethora of grifters that are using the Nintendo hate narrative, which has been totally debunked, by the way. Every bit of it has been debunked. There is no discrepancy or disparity between the digital games and the physical games. They're not $10 more expensive. The first party Nintendo games are coming on the cartridge. That was another lie that, oh no, all the games are going to be a code now. No, that's completely wrong. The games that are going to be a code are going to be clearly labeled because in Japan it's illegal to do otherwise. You have to identify what's coming in the package. So I thought I would do a video talking about how much the Nintendo Switch is going to be for me. Not the sensationalistic bullshit, not the grifting and putting your face making a weird expression in the thumbnail and putting $80, $90, $100 and doing some kind of retarded rant like Angry Joe. No, I just want to talk about how much is this actually going to cost me. So first and foremost, let's pull up the Nintendo website and we can take a look at the Nintendo Switch. We can take a look at what's being offered here. So the prices for the Switch, as it is now, it's going to be $449 for the basic version, and then it's going to be $499 for the version that is bundled with a copy of Mario Kart World, which I want to buy. So for me, I'm going to buy the bundle version. So the cost is going to be $499. Now, that's not the end of it, because I also want to get Nintendo Switch Online. And let's take a look at the cost of Nintendo Switch Online. So I can either do the $20 version, but I'm going to do the $50 version. Because I want access not only to these games, but I want the N64, I want the Game Boy, I want the Sega Genesis, and I want the GameCube, which is eventually going to come out when the console releases. So immediately from the moment that I purchase this, and it is expensive, don't get me wrong, $499 plus $50, that's $550. I immediately, from the first, get access to hundreds of games. Like, the online store, or it's not even a store, the online service gives me access to hundreds of games from the past that are absolutely amazing. I mean, I get access to most Zelda games, if you can imagine it. I get Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Zelda 1 and 2, A Link to the Past. You get so many Zelda games, you get most of the Mario games. It's just, for me, this is a very good value for money, considering what I'm going to be getting, and it's $50 a year, which isn't cheap, but also isn't going to break the bank, considering what I'm getting for this for an entire year. So, what is the total going to be for me? And of course, this doesn't take into account buying a, Express Micro HD card or XD card, SD card rather. So for me, from the initial investment, I'm looking at $499 for the console, and that includes a copy of Mario Kart World. So it's not going to be $80 or $90. For me, it's going to be $50, which I think is a pretty good investment, especially considering how much time I'm going to put into that game. Then you've got the Nintendo Switch Online, which is another $50. You've got $550 thereabout for the system, one of the top tier games, one of the premier games, and the online service, which gives you access to everything that Nintendo has to offer with their online service. Tax included. And usually with these websites, they give you free shipping. So I'm looking at just around $600 investment for this game. I look at other consoles. What is their value proposition? What are they expecting me to pay? Well, I just saw recently that there was something about a 30th anniversary PlayStation, and I don't remember exactly what the price is, but it was like astronomically expensive. Let me see if I can't PS5 30th anniversary price. Let's see if I can't find the price, because I seem to remember that it was like eye-watering, and it says 30th anniversary. It says that in the U.S. it was $999. Can I confirm that? But okay, let's just go with the standard. Okay, I can buy a PlayStation. I can buy a PlayStation renewed, so refurbished console for $449. I can buy it for the same price as the Switch. But here's the thing, and I know some people will disagree with me on this. I view the Switch 2 as a better value proposition than the PlayStation. Some people will go, "What? How can you possibly?" Well, see, for me, portability is actually something that I do value, because there are opportunities and there are times where I do want to travel and I do want to take it with me. So having all that stuff at my fingertips is a lot better than a console that is stuck. Now, if you look at a PlayStation 5 disc version with a game included, their premium game, they're selling a refurbished version for $529. Now, so the reason I'm doing this is because I'm looking at what else is on the market. I'm making a determination based on what else that I see. How much are games charging? What's the current landscape? You see, because the problem is that too many people are looking for that sort of sensationalistic, salacious headline, because they're not good enough at what they do to get people to pay attention to them without that sort of jumping up and down. And so Young Yeah will put out some kind of ridiculous headline, or Angry Joe. I mean, Angry Joe, his his thumbnail was just absolutely egregious. Let's take a look real quick. I just want to show you the thumbnail. Like, this is his thumbnail. Imagine how insecure you have to be to make a thumbnail like this. Like, you're thinking that nobody's going to pay attention to what you're doing. So you have to put angry rant, $90. Well, first of all, the $90 part is a lie. So immediately, immediately, I don't believe anything that you say going forward. Like, you've already discredited yourself in a big way. Epic fail. $80 and it's over Bonanza, which is interesting because Bonanza is $69.99. So that's $70. So the only thing I'm saying here, and there are some people that get really invested in this stuff, and that's perfectly fine. The only thing I'm saying is that it's important in these situations to keep a level head, to look at the situation as it actually is. And I have a saying that I think is actually very important. It's one that I apply to the criticism and critique of Donald Trump, especially because they've gone after him in a huge way. If the person that you hate and think is evil is somebody that you constantly have to lie about and make things up about to prove how bad they are. How bad can they really be? That's the reality. If you have to sensationalize and exaggerate and distort and try to make things 10 times worse than it actually is to justify the vision that you put in your head, then it wasn't really that bad to begin with. Now, I am all for games getting cheaper, games getting more affordable, less expensive. But I think that it's also important to recognize that part of the problem is clowns like this guy. Assholes like this that need to validate their existence, that put stuff out like this, totally dishonest, trying to. This whole thing is a trap to get you angry. $90 for Mario Kart World? Well, no, it's not $90. I already went over it. It's $50 if you buy the bundle, and it's $80 if you buy the physical or the digital. And by the way, it does come on the cartridge if you buy physical. Now, this is an important thing to keep in mind. And it's one of the reasons why I do this. And people go, well, why do you care so much? Why are you defending Nintendo? I don't care who it's about. Getting the details right, getting the facts of the matter correct, is incredibly important because you do a disservice to whatever cause you claim to be representing the moment that you start lying and misrepresenting about what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and how bad it is, because a normal person will walk by and they'll look at it and they'll say, these people are ridiculous. And they're not wrong. The narrative around this was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I think that if you are wanting to talk about this sort of stuff, doing so in a way that isn't just over the top. Like, I think that for the sake of thumbnails, I think Young Yeah is better than Angry Joe. But I mean, just look at this. Online requirements for physical media. Now, the thing about this is that he's not technically wrong. He's not technically wrong. Capcom and Square Enix are doing this as a requirement. You have to download, and I think that that's wrong. But at the same time, the narrative was from Young Yeah, from Angry Joe, from all of these people, that not only were the games $90, not only were the games $90. He actually may be one of the few who didn't mention that it was $90. But holy shit, there were so many. There were so many that were talking about $90. And the fact is that for Mario Kart, I could understand that price, but it's the only game I could really understand that price, considering how big the game appears to be, how huge and massive it appears to be. But that's a personal opinion on my part. Let's take a look real quick
Nintendo recently streamed their Switch 2 Direct, where they showed off a bunch of games and they shared information about the Nintendo Switch 2. And something that struck me as suspicious was the way that they were completely avoiding sharing anything in the way of price points in the Direct proper. Now, following the Direct, there was a press release that did disclose the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. It'll launch on June 5th, 2025, with a price point, an MSRP of $450. Now, if you get the bundle that includes Mario Kart World, the new Mario Kart game announced for Nintendo Switch 2, it is exclusive for the console, and it is a launch title. The bundle that comes with the game will be priced at $500. So essentially, if you get the bundle, you get Mario Kart World for $50 instead of its actual MSRP. And the MSRP of Mario Kart World is the main point of this video. as that is something that Nintendo intentionally kept very low key. It's something that they didn't mention in the direct. It's something that they don't really try to flaunt because they know about the backlash that this would generate. If you go to the official Nintendo website and look at the game itself actually does look what I want you to see. Mario Kart World will launch on June 5th, 2025 alongside the Nintendo Switch, and it will be priced at $80. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first foray into increasing video game prices by an additional $10. It was not long ago that games went from $60 to $70, and now games are going from $70 to $80, and Nintendo intends to kickstart that with the Nintendo Switch 2. The practice on its own is already scummy as it is, but the fact that it
Okay, so at least to his credit, he's talking about the price at $80 rather than doing the Angry Joe and stuff like that. But I understand. I understand the frustration at $80. For me, it's not an issue, and I've made it clear that it's not an issue. I'm glad to buy certain games at $80, but um, yeah, it just there seems to be a general feeling around a lot of these content creators and a lot of these people that are talking about this, that the prices are outrageous and it's unsustainable. Yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive to get a Switch too. But I can get, for me, the complete experience for about $600 with tax. That includes shipping. So that's out the door, just under $600. Um, and I get the Switch 2, I get the online experience for a year, and I get the game that I want. Now, if you don't want the game, if you're like, I don't want Mario Kart, I don't want the bundle, well, then you can buy the console for $449. You can buy the online experience for $20 or $50. Like, you don't have to get the version I'm getting. But if you take a look at the price that Nintendo's offering, it's not as outrageous as what people are making it out to be. And the thing that I find to be very, very interesting is I'm not going to buy Mario Party Jamboree. And I wouldn't recommend that anyone do that. I would say wait till it goes on sale, drastic sale. Because that game is also $80, and I thought that was insane. But other than that, nothing from the pricing, nothing from what Nintendo has done I've seen is particularly egregious. When I'm looking at investment, when I'm looking at how much money I'm going to have to spend, it's not outside the realm of what other companies have done. And the business practice is not outside what other companies have done. But people are treating it like it is, for clicks and headlines and views and more sensationalism, more, click this, watch this. Oh, this is the real issue. And I think that people feed into this slop far too often. And I think that more people need to be realistic. Oh, here's another one. The PS5 Pro faces backlash after $700 price reveal, excluding disk drive and vertical stand. $700 for the PS5 Pro without a disk drive and without a stand. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of what companies are doing, in terms of what companies are presenting, Nintendo here, I don't see anything wrong. I mean, we can argue about the price of the games. I think the price of the game should be cheaper. I do. Will I get value for money if I buy the upgrade? Because I mean, I've got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and so do you. Be honest. So do most people who own a Switch. Buying those upgrades for those games, so that I can enjoy the full, Switch 2 experience. What do they say the upgrades cost? Like 10, $20? So if I wanted to upgrade both of those games, I'd have to pay about $40. Yeah, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a cost, but you're getting the upgraded versions of two games that are absolute classics. Personally, I'm happy to pay that. I'm happy to pay that because I know what I'm getting is going to be worth it. And that really is the main question is when you're talking about this stuff, are you getting value for money? With the PS5 Pro, no. No, you're not. You're not getting value for money. You're getting a significantly better PlayStation 5. But you have to buy the disc drive separately, which is like $70. You have to buy the vertical stand separately, so you can be looking like $800. And that doesn't include the online. That doesn't even include a game. You're going to be looking at $800 before you even start to look for features. And it's 50 I think it's $60 minimum a year for PlayStation, the online access. So value for money. I can either spend like immediately like $900 on a PlayStation, or I can spend $600 and get everything that I want with a Switch 2. I mean, for me, when you start to look at it in comparison to the industry, it becomes very, very silly. This entire thing. Now, I think there are legitimate things to be irritated by. I think that not having the games on the disc is an issue. But what it seems like is that Nintendo is putting their games on a cartridge. They are putting the entire game on a cartridge, and other companies aren't. And that is an opportunity for you as a customer to let them know that by not buying it, by not supporting it, by making it clear that games that don't put their entire game on a cartridge that you're not going to be supporting them, which I think is perfectly fine. Or just buying the digital version and, completely bypassing that so-called physical version. My point in doing this video is not to tell you what to buy or how to buy, but it's simply to explain to you how I look at it and why my position is different, why my opinion is different. And by the way, what I want to end on is something simple. If you think that Trump's tariffs had any effect on Nintendo's pricing and not Nintendo's just pure greed, you're retarded. You're absolutely retarded. There is no defense for you. It is shocking how little you know about economics, how little you know about anything. Just absolutely stunning. Trump's tariffs had no impact on the price at all. At all. Not in any way, shape, matter, or form. And what's interesting is tariffs might be coming off of Japan. Might be coming off of Vietnam too. Who knows? We'll see. Both of them have indicated that they're willing to make concessions. So, who knows? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time.